This is always my favorite part of the event, and you get to see organizations that I think have the potential to really impact our sector for the next decade. I don't understate that. It is hard to be a startup. It is hard to put yourself out there. And individuals who found organizations, but also individuals who go work for organizations, they put themselves out on the line for a belief that what they're doing is going to really make a difference. So just to kind of take that perspective, our 4 contestants, contestants sounds like we're doing X Factor or something here. The 4 organizations who are going to share their insights with you today, first of all, are going to be organizations that have put themselves on the line. They are representing an organization that has a belief that what they are doing is fundamentally different and important. And we really hope that all are successful. But today, only one will be successful in terms of the iTalent prize. We're going to hear in a minute from last year's winner, but the 4 organizations that we're going to be talking about today are Never, represented by Leela, so who's our local, representing that. No bias towards that, of course. We have James Cook, who's representing C3, our cognitive content collator, who's going to be talking about their business. Peter Hart from Rideau, and we have John Hixon from Cezanne HRO. And in this order, we drew an order this morning randomly, and these are the order in which they will present today. Just to give you a background in terms of how that works, we're going to be basically having our judges, which I'll introduce you to in a second, and each of our finalists will have 7 minutes to pitch to you. And I'm going to give an opportunity for everybody to ask questions, focusing on our judges, and if we have time, obviously any audience questions we have there are, if I feel the need to ask a question, I'm going to ask a question as well. And we'll introduce that in a second. I'm going to skip on for, I have the slide here. So the value of winning iTalent stretches way beyond this room. You are the live participants, but the sphere of influence that HRO today has and that can give a winning organization is really, really big. And it's really important for those organizations. Getting that credibility from organizations like HRO today is really important to an organization trying to get out there and give themselves a head start. And one such winner last year, we had HRO win this competition in EMEA last year. And just to share some insights in terms of what that 12-month journey has been since then, please put your hands together for Dustin to tell his story.
Thanks, Johnny. Is my mic working okay? Can everyone hear me? Great. So last year with HRO, we had just kind of entered the first stage of maturity with our product, with it feeling really ready for people to start using. And since we won, we just had this massive momentum builder with HRO today, with the iTalent
So that's hopefully the journey we're going to hear from our winner next year when we come to Dublin, Ireland, my hometown, and we get to basically hear what's happened for our winner next year. Before we get into the meat of this afternoon session, let's click back the slides, and we are going to have to jump through here, right? I want you to briefly meet our judges. Our judges have been chosen for their different but broad knowledge on technology. Individuals who come across technology, come across solutions, and most important, back to one of the points I made earlier in the presentation that I gave around practical applications and talent that actually can change. It isn't just interesting or novel. Interesting and novel are really interesting for discussions for 5 minutes, but will they transform businesses? Will they transform an industry? Do they solve a real problem? Does this business have a plan to execute their why into a how and eventually a what? So we have Gavin Speirs on my left here. Gavin Speirs runs a business in Glasgow, so local lad, and born and bred in the world of recruitment, delivering solutions both on continuous recruitment but also retained and RPO solutions. His business is based out of Glasgow. We have obviously last year's winner, Dustin, representing Hello Talent, and somebody who's not just seeing what their business is doing, but is obviously competing against lots of other businesses, trying to do similar things, but also, as you can appreciate, when you're in a position like Hello Talent, you get to talk to lots of other companies who are starting up. And Dustin, I know, has seen a lot of different products and technology over the last few years around the world and seen the ones that have survived that. We have Heath, who is the head of the global RPO business for Lumesse. Again, Lumesse, technology company themselves with a lot of great product stories and innovation in terms of what they've done from a technology point of view, and also delivering services through global RPO to their clients as well. And no doubt, you've seen a lot of great stuff with your customers over the years, and as an advisor to those, no doubt giving them insights in terms of what should they be looking at, what could they be thinking of in competitors, and hopefully giving you a great perspective on the finalists we have here today. And then Elliot, because he runs this. No, Elliot, obviously, a CEO of Shared Expertise. Elliot's got infinite wisdom and in many things, but also a great eye. I was privileged to be a judge sitting next to Elliot in Chicago in May for the US iTalent, and I almost maybe expected Elliot not to ask the tough questions. He asked the toughest questions, so be careful, guys. Because he's a real passion to understand what is this, why is this, and is this seriously going to be something that's going to be out there used by many companies, many people solving problems, and a great eye, a great person to have in our judging panel here today to do that. We're also going to ask you guys though to get involved. So the way that this session is going to work is our judges are being asked to score these companies on 4 areas. Just to explain, they have 5 points they can allocate, up to 5 points for each of those areas, to a maximum total of 20 points for any one company. The first area they will score the organization on is innovation. You've heard about innovation this morning. Is this innovative? Is it a Me Too product? Well, then it scores probably low on innovation. Is this a different way of approaching the problem and genuinely quite new, or bringing new things to the table in an existing space? Would score high innovation. Business relevance. I guess business relevance, is it solving an actual problem? Maybe fantastic, it may be new, but does anyone actually have this problem, and does this seem to solve it? 3 is global effectiveness. Is this a scaled business? Is this a solution for a very tiny audience that, yes, it's good for them, once they solve that, they're done? Or is there global scale in this? Does this truly have the potential to be an international business? And then lastly, the quality of the pitch. And the quality of pitch is really important, because the best ideas in the world, solving the best problems, poorly communicated, will get nowhere. So we want to make sure that the organizations have sent good people to represent themselves here, because we will hopefully see that as a sign that they're going to do that with future customers, and that they understand and communicate the benefits to not only an audience like this and judges, but also in the real world. So they're the 4 areas we're going to ask the judges to score. You guys are going to be able to also help in that. We're going to ask you, once we have gone through all 4 finalists, we're going to ask you to jump online, and you'll see that there's a poll on the HRO Today Twitter account, and you'll be able to go to @HRO Today. There's a link at the top. You have to click on it on your phone and quite simply pick which of the 4 companies you think should win. You can use whatever criteria you want. I'd ask you to think about similar criteria, but again, you guys are professionals in super effective for them. So we'll explain that once we get to the end. Format for this, let me make sure I got it right here. It's very simple, 7 minutes. Each of our finalists is going to speak for 7 minutes, not 7 minutes and 2 seconds. So for example, Dustin had 2 minutes, he spoke for probably 5. That's great because he won last year. He's allowed to do that. You're not. You have 7, that's it. We're literally, if I had my Bo Peep hook, I would pull you off the stage myself. I don't. But we're going to basically just make loads of noise and turn the microphone off or something. Or you guys can jeer them. But you have to be brief, you have to be concise. And that's why we give a focus around 7 minutes, right? That's your long elevator pitch. And hopefully that communicates enough for you and for our judges to make decisions. After that 7 minutes expires, we're going to go straight to our judging panel. The judges, you guys can ask any question you want of our finalists. They may not be in a position to answer all your questions. Sometimes it's because there's information they can't put into the wild because they're funded, they just don't want to share that information, and you can use that or not to make your decisions, of course, but you can ask them anything, and you guys have to deal with those questions and be able to answer and respond in a nice way to our judges. Don't hog the time, but do ask questions. If you genuinely don't have enough information, ask of the finalists. Likewise, if you have time, I'll put it out to the audience, and if you have questions in the audience to help you make your decisions, or just to know more business companies, please put your hand up as well. When I ask the questions, be ready straight away, because we can't afford to probably wait 30 seconds for someone to be confident about putting their hand up. That's it. It's that simple. Once we're done, we're going to collate the scores quite quickly. We're going to take a few photographs here on the stage of our finalists, which we'll be using to promote everybody who's involved, but particularly to help promote the winner when they walk away with the iTalent award. That sounds good?
Yes.
Everyone still with us?
Yes.
Great. And we're going to try and avoid having anyone snoring and going to sleep and falling away and disappearing at the back as well. Let's keep you engaged. So, to get us going, I'd like to introduce our first finalist. Our first finalist's time will start as soon as she begins speaking. Okay? Our first words kick the clock off, so please bear with her. Please don't interrupt any of our speakers if you don't mind. Try not to distract them. This is a pressurized environment, and we want them to all do their very best. Please put your hands together from Leela from Lever.
All right. I'm Leela from Lever. Thank you for having me. As Johnny said, locally born but visiting from San Francisco. So my hope is that all of you are better than the Americans at voting for a qualifying woman. So to kick things off, really what I want to do is help you understand Lever's origin, why we were founded, because I think that's a great window into our differentiation in the ludicrously crowded category of ATS CRM. So meet our 3 co-founders, Srinivasan, Nate Smith, and Randall Traum. Sarah is our CEO. She's a design graduate from Stanford University who was working at Google, where she met Nate. Nate is obsessed with real-time technology and had built a real-time JavaScript framework called Derby that he was desperate to deploy on the highest impact business problem. Randall was an entrepreneurial friend of Sarah's from Stanford. When they got together in 2012, it was very clear that there was one massive problem that they could solve together, and that was hiring. They spoke to dozens of C-level executives, and every single one said their single biggest challenge to growing and scaling an organization was hiring, because hiring had changed, but the technology that supported hiring had not evolved to match that. I have to give a quick honorable mention to Twitter for our origin story. They allowed Lever to embed for 6 months when Twitter was growing from 700 to 1,500 employees. And the Lever team sat 10 feet from the recruiting team. They shadowed hiring managers, interviewers, sourcers, schedulers, executives, candidates to find out all the reasons, all the pain points, all the challenges inherent in the hiring process. And this, I think, speaks to Sarah's design thinking background. Understanding the why of what was not working in recruiting was core to our success. From all of that data gathering, they built the system from the ground up. Lever was born and looks nothing like the other ATS CRM players on the market. So why did we think hiring was so broken? I think that comes down to 2 things. Recruiting, we feel, is a strategic problem that is trapped inside administrative software. So you've heard a couple of times over the last day or so just how much the hiring market has evolved, right? We live in this age of the opportunistic workforce. Virtually everybody is a passive candidate, and once they join an organization, there's very little loyalty to that organization. That puts a lot of pressure on your recruiting team. Meanwhile, C-level executives finally are realizing that they need to prioritize talent, but the bad news is only a third of them trust HR to do it based on PwC research. Why is that? Well, some of it is around practices, but I would also blame the software. geared toward helping organizations ranging from startup to enterprise to have a proactive talent strategy. I wish I had longer than 3 minutes and 56 seconds to go from here. Obviously, I can't cover everything that you see up here. So I'm going to delve into just a few features to give you a sense of how we think about this world and how we're making lives better for recruiters and the entire organization. So starting with Lever Hire, which is our core ATS platform with CRM components built into it. We describe it as a collaborative recruiting platform that both your team and your candidates will love. So 2 or 3 things that I think make it different. First of all, helping companies to manage the entire recruiting process, leads and applicants from source all the way through to hire. So you heard a little bit of this from Dustin. I'll also say we have what's judged to be the best Chrome extension in the ATS world. If we thought Johnny was an amazing speaker from Sigma HRO today, we could source him straight into Lever with just a few clicks. And this works across dozens of sites on the web. And because we've made it so easy for companies to proactively source, on average, our clients today see 31% of their hires through proactive sourcing. And the same extension is used to help hiring managers and interviewers refer in talent and track that talent in Lever. Additionally, user-friendliness for all stakeholders. So I think this was mentioned again over the last couple of days. We're the Apple generation. People expect ease of use, simplicity, intuitive software, speed, simple, just works, clean. These are all adjectives that are used to describe Lever. And I think one thing we've done particularly well is think about where hiring managers want to interact with the recruitment process. It's not logging into a new system. So we've extended our functionality into their inbox. So in this example, I'm a recruiter. I think Johnny looks great. I fire off a note through an app mention to Michael Scott, my hiring manager. Off it goes. It appears real time in Michael Scott's inbox, along with a parsed resume or profile, whatever we've pulled in for Johnny. Michael Scott can then respond to that email without leaving his inbox, and his note is logged real time in Lever, real time because again we're built on a real time JavaScript framework. Because of that type of functionality, we see hiring manager and interviewer involvement spike when companies turn on Lever. Candidate relationships, number 3. Recruiting is all about relationships, always has been, but particularly in an era of passive talent, relationships have become paramount. And Lever is organized around the center of gravity of the candidate profile. The idea is we might speak to Johnny over a period of weeks, months, or even years, and the profile gives you a place to log all of the touch points, all of the interactions with different members of the team, so that you have the full story of Johnny's history with your organization, which allows you to be more relevant and focused in your communication to him. Let's say we talk to Johnny. Johnny's not quite ready because he has a bonus at the end of the year. Simple, we snooze him. And so we wake Johnny up in January after his bonus arrives, and we can kick off the conversation where we left. So these are the types of functionality that we've layered into the product to really help companies build better relationships with the talent that they're working with. Lever Nurture, I only have a minute for this. So this is actually a brand new module that is launching to our first set of customers this week. And the idea here is that we believe sourcing is actually the most challenging part of the recruitment process, probably similar to Dustin. And what we've done is we've basically built a very simple, so back to simple, clean, fast, intuitive set of basically like marketing drip campaigns that recruiting teams can run. They don't need a marketing PhD to do this. So to give you an example, within Lever, once you've got assembled the candidates that you want to reach out to, you can create a workflow. You specify the number of touch points that you want, the cadence of those touch points. You set up a simple templates. You drop in personalization fields, and once you press to start that workflow, off we go. In this particular workflow, we've got 8 candidates, 7 touch points, 56 emails set up within the space of a few minutes. You set it and forget it until that candidate responds when you pick up the conversation as they're advanced to a new stage in Lever. We can also allow you to send for your VP of engineering, for example, to boost your response rates. I've run out of time. Reporting is going to help companies test and learn.
Thank you, Leela.
Software, and that is, I didn't see anything that doesn't exist in an existing ATS product. And one of the things I'll tell you, and you're talking to a guy who took a software company public, that clients always say they want simplicity, but in truth they want simplicity in the GUI. But they want dozens and dozens of features, some of which they'll never turn on or use. So I guess what I'm looking at is, there's brass ring, there's delay, there's Lumesse, there's iSynth, there's all these dozens of new quote-unquote CRM products coming out, Smashfly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Why is Lever going to survive?
Sure. So two things. First of all, we do migrate companies off of every ATS you just mentioned on a monthly basis, I would say. And I can send you testimonials.
How many client user groups do you have?
We have over 1,100 paying customers today, ranging from small startup to Netflix, a lot of companies I can't mention, but into, for example, KPMG New Zealand or the innovation branch within Alpha Telefonica, or those types of organizations. So very broad set of customers. They're coming to us because this pitch around simplicity and cleanliness of system and ease of use is real. People want that. That's the future of work. And I think we're bringing that to market more effectively than any other company. So the second part of the question around Smashfly, and there are a lot of heavy grade recruitment technologies on the market today, recruitment marketing technologies rather, but it's heavy duty, heavy grade. And I think the beauty of and the simplicity of a software like Lever is it's sort of out of the box in the same way that when you buy an Apple device, there is no manual. It just sort of works. And the same thing is true of Lever Nurture, which really is geared towards solving a very simple problem, which is increasing sourcing productivity, helping recruiters cut out all that administrative work of setting up email after email, remembering to do that, taking that pain out of the process so they can really focus on relevancy and timing of messaging. So all in all, I agree it's a very crowded and competitive space, but what we're hearing from customers like Netflix is we're doing this in a way that no other company has done before.
Judges, any other questions?
So, first of all, one of the things that I've noticed is that Lever is one of the 2 ATSs out there that I've ever heard end users be positive about when they weren't required to say it publicly for some reason.
Thank you.
So that's good. But my question is, sometimes when I talk to these users at events and things like that, what they say is that eventually Lever stops scaling well for them at some point. Like they get large enough where they need something that is more customizable and therefore more complex. How are you addressing it, or how do you plan to address that?
Yep, I think it's a great question. So we've done a lot of learning in the 4 years of our existence, and we have very successfully helped a number of companies scale. So I'll cite Lyft as an example. When Lyft joined us as a beta customer in mid-2013, they were 85 employees. Today they're 1,200, and they've done that growing in Lever. So clearly we've been able to help companies scale over time. We are now just starting to get into more of the enterprise market. So last week, for example, we signed all the international offices of a Russian telecom player, so several thousand, again, employees across multiple divisions. So I think we've come a long way in short. I think your criticism was probably true a year and a half ago, but we innovate incredibly rapidly, and we do a lot of listening. Every week we're on site with customers, really understanding their needs, their pain points, their challenges. That's still so germane to who we are as an organization. So I'm very excited about our potential there.
How do I close with one last question?
Sure.
Do you offer products in any more languages than English?
Yep, so today the platform itself is only available in English, but we support every Unicode text language. So we have customers in Japan, for example, Brazil, almost name a country with a different language. So long as the language in which they operate is a Unicode text language, they're able to use our platform fairly successfully. Part of the reason is that it's very flexible. So for example, when you're setting up your recruitment pipeline within Lever, you name all of the stages, and you can name them whatever you want. So while it is only in English today, again, we have customers in 50+ countries.
Thank you. Folks, put your hands together, Leela.
Thank you.
So that's how it works, yeah? We definitely stop the music when the time runs out, okay? So it's a great first start. Thank you, judges. We're probably going to work on about 2, max 3 questions. Probably that's as much time as we can allow. So therefore, if you haven't had the opportunity, you really want to ask a question, get it quick. Because Eddie will keep asking questions. So you gotta try and do that. You will. It's good. And he's winning with the challenging stuff, so that's all right. So with our next contestant with 7 minutes, please put your hands together for James Cook from Cognitive Content Clear.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually from a slightly larger company called IBM. The product that we have been shortlisted for the finals is called Cognitive Content Collator. You hear me okay? Yeah. switched off its access to the internet. What we have subsequently done is turned the whole of IBM Watson into 21 APIs, and we have used a few of these to create this product, Cognitive Content Collator. My internal equivalent, Diane Gerson, who's our CHRO worldwide, has gone on record with that figure, £217 million of savings attributed to cognitive and HR within IBM. You won't be able to read all the detail on the right-hand side, but we are applying cognitive to everything that moves within IBM, and specifically to the field of HR. The particular instance that I'm pitching to you today is its relevance to the field of learning, and to the very onerous task of tens of thousands of man-hours to manage learning content. The other items in there are to do with personalization, its application to understanding CVs, to understanding job descriptions, but the specific pitch is to the field of learning. Down at the bottom you will see the typical problem when you have thousands of hours of learning content. It is very, very difficult to control the curriculum, to keep it up to date, and to keep it linked to competencies, roles, jobs, and so on. This solution is what you might call semi-automated meta-tagging. And this is not a Trumpism from an NRA convention. This is the ability for artificial intelligence to actually understand the meaning of content by itself. Okay, imagine that you have a genie who is your virtual assistant, who is also able to understand the meaning of any content, whether it's text, video, audio, whatever it might be. This genie has also turned you into a person called Hart, and you are faced with the management of a large volume of learning content. Your budget's going down, your boss wants even more learning output. In the circles there, you can see the typical amount of time it takes to assemble, attract SME input to learning content, design and development, publish, check, etc. This is a big problem. I've worked with corporates all my life. 3 startups, 2 of my own, and IBM. Okay, it was started up over 100 years ago, but still the way we approach things is in startup mentality. What we have done is we've taken the principles of startup and we've said, how do we solve this business problem in the field of learning? Here comes the science part: tagging, chunking, curating, harvesting, and collating. I'm not going to go into exactly how it works. I can just assure you that it does work, and in the trials we've done so far, people are indicating very significant improvements in performance. On the right-hand side, it would be coupled up with whatever your preference is for the personalization of learning content back to the user. So in terms of who buys this, it's not the end user, it is the recruitment function, the learning function, or other product companies who wish to provide additional content interpretation to their products. AI isn't perfect yet. What you need to do is tell it what a particular word means in a particular industry that it's never come across before. For instance, the pharma industry. However, over 30 years we have taught it pretty much every single word in the English language, and we are nearly finished with Japanese. We've got 7 other languages that we're teaching it. This is a little illustration of the crowdsourcing ability, where you can have teams tune that final misunderstanding of client-specific words. Here's an illustration from our Lucas Hahn case. Top row, 50,000 effort hours to tag, prepare 10,000 hours of learning content. With C3, 20 seconds per content hour, 55 elapsed hours. The second row, if you're a learning specialist, you will know that you can never keep up because the content keeps changing. Whereas with C3, just let it run in the background, it will keep up for you.
chance, quick question. Is this both for internal materials as well as external materials, and also is video covered?
So it can address whatever you let it point at, so internal and external if that's what you like. Equally, you can say, only look here. And sorry, what was the second question? Video is right at the bleeding edge. Getting there is my short answer to that one. And at the moment, where we can generate a transcript, then it's easy. Where we can't, it's a lot harder.
So, one more question. It wasn't clear to me. Is this technology just curating information in software, or is it actually creating learning material?
Okay, we can have a week's debate on what is creation. When does creation stop and collation take over, and vice versa. The original scientists on this called it CID, cognitive instruction design. And when I took over the division, I said, hang on guys, it's not quite that. It's not instruction design, it is cognitive content collation. So let us call it that. However, given that an awful lot of content is itself the product of other content, you could say in that regard it is creating.
So I'm going to take the role of a customer very quickly. One of the things you said, and I know I only gave you 7 minutes, and I'm only going to give you 3 sentences here, is I can't tell you how it works. I can only tell you that it does, at which point you'd be on the sidewalk in front of my office. All right? So how does it work? 3 sentences.
Every customer says, this is too good to be true. We say, fine, we'll put our money where our mouth is, and we'll offer you a free trial. Those customers convert.
That's not the answer to my question. What are you doing? Are you actually doing, is it OCR technology? Is it just data scanning, data tagging? You know,
It's the 5 things that I mentioned: the tag, the chunk, create, harvest, collate. It's doing all of those things and presenting the content, whatever the content is, back to either a search engine, an LMS, an LCMS, a portal, whatever you want.
do you have a sense of what the error rate is, or where you put in a search term and it doesn't return what you're looking for? I mean, is it nil? Is it 1%? Is it 5%? Because that's the problem with search engines, is they're wrong about 30% of the time.
It's not a binary. This is based on probabilities. If you're familiar with the base Watson AI algorithms, it's probability based. So that last crowdsourcing piece of tuning it with your specific company taxonomy is where you go from the, let's say, the 90 up to the 95.
Good, thank you very much.
Judges, while you hand in your scores. So 2 great presentations so far. We're halfway. We have 2 more to go. Thank you, judges, for that. When the questions are shorter and the answers are short, we can take more. So thank you for that, just to give an idea. I'll keep an eye on those times. For our 3rd pitch, please put your hands together. You would for Peter from Rideau.
Good afternoon, everybody. Pleased to be here. I am not a startup. I'm a 104-year-old startup, and I'm privileged to lead a team of 250, 275 folks. The business goes back to 1912. We were a manufacturer of emblematic jewelry and insignia. When I got involved in the business, we were manufacturing what you saw up in the castle last night, all of the decorations and awards that government would be using in Canada and for foreign governments as well. We used that and we leveraged that to go into corporate recognition and rewards in 1989. And we realized that there was a huge problem with the recognition award space. 90% of companies have these programs, yet 60% of employees, according to the Gallup organization, don't truly feel valued and appreciated. And for that reason, we actually started working and doing a lot of research into what is the difference between recognition and rewards. Rewards are tangible. You can link them to cash value, the gold watch, for instance. But just because you give somebody a gold watch doesn't necessarily mean you've recognized them. Recognition is an emotion. It's a feeling. It's like love. How do you quantify that? In 2006, we acquired the Recognition Management Institute that just delved into research, education, and strategy concerning recognition. And what we found was that there is a correlation between the amount of recognition that goes on within an organization and KPIs within our relevant clients. And that launched what we call Vistance Predictive Analytics and Learning. And that's now been deployed in a major financial organization, well, over 80,000 people. The product is called Vistance. It's geared, to the managers. It's a SaaS-based solution. It's embedded, the software, that we use, actually helps move the dials with various KPIs. And it's really answering the primary concern of our clients. Do these programs work? Why are you investing in recognition and rewards? It's easy to quantify incentive programs. Do this, get that. Everybody knows what the costs are. But what about these touchy-feely programs? Can you quantify that? And the answer is yes. And what we're looking to do is implement solutions that target specific behaviors within an organization. And what we're trying to do is make sure, that we can touch managers that deal with remote workers and look at how do their uses and practices of recognition touch engagement and touch performance. And we're using analytics to measure their effectiveness. My colleague Charles Sherbaum, who presented yesterday, had a very detailed slide, and we sort of baked that down. So how the system works is very simple. We pick up all the recognition data from the various programs that might be going on within an organization, whether we're doing them or other people are doing them. So social recognition, along with your traditional programs, service, performance, etc. We take all of that data, we put it into a data warehouse, we weight it based on the type of program that's being used. And from that, what we do is we create what we call an RQ score. The RQ score is based on two different things. It's the amount of recognition that a manager gives, and and we can see that, we can quantify it, but it's also based on the recognition perception. That is, do employees genuinely feel recognized, appreciated, and valued? Those two things combine to make what we call an RQ score. Every manager gets an RQ score. That RQ score can be seen by the manager. They can see how they're doing compared to other managers. And basically, what we do is that we know that managers with higher RQ scores actually have better performance. And what we do is take the RQ score, we invite managers to self-assess and go through an online assessment. We find out what their strengths and weaknesses are in terms of dealing with employees. And then we serve up online educational content based on recognition, engagement, leadership to help improve their RQ scores. And what's the result? We know that managers with higher RQ scores their teams deliver more sales, they have better productivity, they have higher engagement, better resiliency in terms of what they do. And I think that's really important is the more education they have, the better they get at this. And you can see here for likelihood to recommend year-over-year scores, the more education you get, the better you get at recognition, you end up with better and higher scores. Why is this important? Because there's a global crisis coming. I encourage all of you to go and visit Rainier Strack and see his TED Talk. He talks and looks at what the snapshot, of what talent looks like in 2020 and by 2030 when all of the boomers have retired. And you're going to see huge deficits. There's going to be not enough workers to fill positions. And I think that, and especially here in Europe, in Germany it's over 20%. So it's going to be important to have companies that have cultures that attract, retain, and engage people. And if you look, in the same study that Rainier Strack did, and he's the head of Boston Consulting Group, he's not in our business, you'll see on 20 different aspects, salary was number 8. Having a great relationship with your superior was number 4. Having a good work-life balance, number 3. Having a great relationship with your colleagues, number 2. Being appreciated and valued for your work was number 1. The problem with programs today is that they're all reward focused. We need to spend more money, more time, more effort educating managers in how to treat people right, and that will really move the dials. Thank you.
Judges, questions?
So can you tell us a little bit more about what kind of actionable insights your software is providing to HR professionals? You talked about all that data coming in. Is it also providing then insights?
Absolutely, and that's the beauty about what we're doing. We're able to see a manager's strengths and weaknesses in terms of dealing with people. And what we're able to do is serve up prescriptive learning modules that really address, okay, what that manager's concerns or needs are. I'll give you an example. The two-part specificity rule. You know, often you'll see in an organization, great job, great job, great job, and the person's looking, what? Yeah, for what? So number one in the two-part specificity rule is being specific about what you're recognizing them for, because you did this project, because you helped me on this, or whatever. And then relating that back to the overall mission, vision, values, okay, of what the organization is. That's the second part. Why are we doing this? And ultimately, the goal of everything that we're doing is trying to make better relationships within the organization. So that if I care about you, you're going to care about me.
In a weird way, because if I understood you correctly, you're also getting the perception of appreciation. So you're actually surveying the employees in real
Absolutely.
time. So this gives you a better, a lot of engagement surveys are once a year. By the time I was talking to Eamon about it, by the time you get a chance to review it, 6 months later. So you could actually see in the RQ scores across the entire enterprise how employees feel about their appreciation of work in real time.
We're not looking in the rear view mirror, we're looking forward, and it actually is in real time. We're seeing, okay, exactly what employees are feeling. So, there's two parts of this. There's the quantity of recognition that a person would receive, but there's also the quality. Who determines the quality? It's you, the employee, the individual. You know, how deeply are you in love? My wife is in the room, right? You'd have to ask her, all right? I can't tell her she loves me that deeply.
Well, thank you for your presentation. You made our event better. Did I learn anything just now? All right.
There's no more questions from the judges. Any questions from the audience? We can move to my last question. How many deployments have you had with software, and typically with what size of organization?
So this all started actually from research from a professor who was the chair of occupational health and safety with Standard Life, which is ironic because their head office was here in Edinburgh. Found that the absence of employee recognition is the second leading cause of burnout stress in the workplace. To be specific, we went to our client, a large global financial institution that's almost 6 or 7 years ago, and started doing clinical studies with them. We have one deployment so far, that's the bank, but the largest chip maker in the world, I can't mention their name, all right, one of the largest entertainment company in the world, we're okay to installing this, deploying this for them as well.
Thank you, folks. Please put your hands together.
And while our judges collate their numbers and make sure they're happy with one finalist to go, please put your last hands together for John from Cezanne HRO.
Thank you for having us. As you're all aware, there are tens of thousands of SMEs out there worldwide who have international staff, ranging from 100 to several thousand employees. Like their larger counterparts, their challenge is to attract, engage, develop, connect and manage their people in line with local legislation and company policies. However, the vast majority of them are making do with spreadsheets or a mishmash of local HRO or payroll systems. They have no clear overview of headcount, skills, people's ambitions, and no easy way to connect and engage with people across the whole organisation. The reason for this is simple. The majority of HR software that is on the market today is either too expensive or too simplistic to manage HR on a global basis. At Cezanne, we've been developing HR software in our past lives for decades, for large international organisations in both HR and talent space. We realised that with SaaS approach and smart thinking, we could develop HR software that wasn't expensive and time-consuming to implement, but could still manage the global requirements of SME. Cezanne HR is the first global HR SaaS product developed in Europe and aimed at the SME market. We use an international team with input from the UK, US, Germany, France, Italy, South America, and more places. And we didn't just take an existing system and try to put it international on it. We built this with global at heart. So how do we take out cost and complexity? Technology is the starting point. It's a pure SaaS solution. It's hosted in a multi-tenant environment which can scale up or down on demand, and we can provision a new tenant in minutes. It means we've got no overheads to pass on, and no barriers to clients getting up and started. Secondly, we can get data in fast. We provide a tool, they can copy and paste the data, if it's from multiple systems or not. We can get it in there, and we can do historic data. This means an SME can quickly see a return on investment. They get an overview of the total headcount across the business, compensation spend, or sickness or absence trends. So a lot of the large software targeted at larger organisations needs to be customised or configured, which can lead to time before it's rolled out. We believe a lot of things can be standardised for SMEs, but flexibility is required. So, for example, you want an alert. You want to be telling line managers when probation periods are ending. You want regional HR to know visas are expiring, especially with Brexit happening. We provide a standard library of these. It's down to the HR team to decide which ones they want, who they go to. Is it to one country set of line managers, or is it across the company as a whole? Another area we provide a lot of flexibility is absences. It always seems simple. Most people have a contract which gives them some time off. Maybe not if they're an Uber driver, but most people do. They request it. Someone either approves or rejects it, and it's monitored. However, how is it accrued and rewarded? Is it hourly, daily, or even weekly? Must they earn their absence before they can take it? Can they carry over days from one year to the next? Does it increase the length of service, or even the wage? What about minimum entitlement part-time workers in the UK? Marriage licence in Italy, 30 consecutive days in Brazil. Variations just go on and on and on worldwide. With sickness, can it be wrapped up in with a vacation, PTO? Do you need a different approval process? Or can it be accrued, or are we only interested in the last 12 months? We can manage all these variations. It's just down to the customers to decide how they want to set it up. So it's not just about taking out cost, it's also about removing barriers for adoption. From self-service line rollout to making sure line managers have their insight to manage both local and global teams. We enable any number of HR portals in the software with different audience and content. So in Germany, you could set one up for Germany with local language content just for the German employees, or any other country or business unit. Or you can have a global portal for company communications, keeping people informed. We also have a very clear and transparent pricing model, which is on our website. We start at £130 per month and adjust based on active headcount and number of modules. So an SME can easily budget. With no hidden costs, there's no charges for support or data storage or languages. Again, full SaaS models, you get new updates, normally we take a strategy though, for line manager and self-service functionality, it's turned off by default when we roll out new features. So HR can decide who gets it and when they get it. So just give me an example. We got one client, 300 employees, signed in May, and they've done a global rollout within 6 weeks. 140 employees in Germany, and the rest spread across 17 different locations. 3 weeks were around data gathering, getting insight into the data, figuring out what they wanted to configure, testing, and another 3 weeks to do a staggered rollout. So we aim to help global SMEs save time, work smarter, and achieve more. You know, we're behind the scenes, we're not the sexy recruitment, we're taking away time of administration so they can get on and do the sexy. Thank you.
Judges, questions?
Yeah, I've got a question for you. So you talk about the industry finding it time-consuming to roll out, deploy technology. It's complex, etc. You're looking at the SME market. So what's your average deployment time to put your tech out there?
It can vary. We've had people 3 days roll out. Larger organisations might decide to do it country by country. They've been through different HR software before, and it might take them 6 months. If they're using it just in HR, we all know some people just get bogged down with HR and never get to self-service rollout. So can you class that as rolled out? Really rolled out when it's just purely HR using it. And however much you encourage them, they can get bogged down in that.
So you talked about the target market being growing SMEs. Do you then expect those growing SMEs to go out of Cezanne, or what happens when they hit a scale that they may need another solution?
So we're targeted, we've got clients up to 5,000. They start going above 5,000, then yes, they will be looking at the workdays. The pockets get a lot deeper than they are when they were smaller. So they will probably be caught by workdays or other solutions out there. We wish they would stay with us.
So there are a fair amount of other tools that are designed for HR admin, for SMEs. What would you say is the biggest thing that separates you guys from your competitors?
I think the biggest thing is we were born out of an international organisation. We sold part of from Roots and HR. We had a very global perspective from a European side. So we understood Northern Europe, Southern Europe, which is very different. We had outlets in the US, Australia, South America. So we got a big global insight when we were building it. So yes, we come across a lot of local vendors during the sales process. And if it's a single country, we win some, we lose some to those local vendors. But if they've really got an international organisation, then we can fit their needs.
Along the same lines, I mean, everything that you just said is almost literally the same categorical pitch from fair sale and straight in Dayforce. SME market, multi-global, 10 countries, implement less than 30 days. So what is it specifically about Cezanne HR as a differentiator?
Cost.
Unique differentiator. It's
It's cost. We do our absence management. We're probably more European focused. I know fair sale was developed in Europe, was definitely more US focused.
All right, so but if you're to go with cost, are you able to do cost and maintain very good margins? Because that's going to be critical to additional fundraising to grow the business, right? So do you operate on a profitable basis per account?
We see everything as a single account, not as an account-by-account basis, because we're fully multi-tenanted. We don't say someone with, we've got people with less than 100 employees. We've got more, some with several thousand. So yes, we get different costs, but we see it all as a pot rather than a client-by-client basis.
John, thank you very much.
While we collect our judges' final deliberations on contestant 4, I'd ask you all please to pull out your phones. This is your chance to vote. Not everyone got a So what I want you to do is dig out Twitter. You're going to go to HRO today. And I'm going to do this with you and cast my vote as well. So you're going to go into your Twitter account, search for HRO today. You're going to find that account. The top tweet from about an hour ago is a link. It's a link to the survey. When you click on it, you're going to see this on your phones. You're going to see our 4 contestants, not in the exact same order. I want you to pick one and press done, and you are done. And we can get your vote in quickly. So I'll leave it to that, and I'll have a look and go, who am I going to vote for? And that person has now received, not yet, my vote. It's going to go through, and I will thank you for completing the survey. So that is my vote cast. So please cast your vote. It's anonymous, and we'll be tallying them together. Bill, you're going to be able to tally those votes. It's awesome. So we'll give you another few seconds to do that. While we're doing that and getting all the votes together, I want to thank, first of all 4 participants. It's a hard job to get up there. It seems easy when you're prepping. You do the slides, you stand in front of your mirror in your hotel room going, I can do this, we're all good. You get up on stage and you forget the thing. You walk up going, I never did that, I never say that. If only I had said that as a different thing. I get it. We get one shot. I really appreciate you guys putting the effort together. Judges, just before we get to the finalists, just some general comments without mentioning any specific companies. What do you look for? What advice would you give somebody pitching? Yes, on the stage, but it stands for the same. If they're pitching to a customer, it's the same. I guess the same basic idea. What would you have learned today from this process around what should people think about and look for, the goods and the bads? Any suggestions of that? Get Elliot going. Elliot, you're always willing to give a go.
Well, you know what I look at primarily is uniqueness, right? I keep joking that if I was ever going to go back in the software business, I'd go out to Silicon Valley and I'd say, I just founded a company called Me Too Software, and wait for the millions of dollars to pour in, right? Because there's an awful lot. I mean, if you look at Crunchbase or any of these tools, you see tens of millions of dollars going into the same categories of software we've always had. And it's really unfortunate, but uniqueness gets choked off a bit because the money's all flowing there. I really look for, this is a unique solution to a problem. It's a new way of looking at things or a way to change the business and create a business impact that isn't currently being addressed. So that's what I look for.
I'll pass on. Don't they say that you don't have to be first, you just have to be last to market?
I think there's something to be said.
And I think you're absolutely right, because I've looked at everything today, and a lot of it's already out there. And there are some pieces that are interesting, and it's to find that true focal point that's of interest and evolve that piece as the innovation to talk about, because that's what really matters. And I think we need to partly have a bit of assumption that a lot of the stuff that is there is known about, kind of all do the same, but then what's the uniqueness? That's the piece to really drive on.
And in defense of all our participants, sometimes it's about being unique is often overvalued. Uniquing and being in that genre and being able to scale and impact, we often less value, but perhaps they're the game-changing companies. Apple didn't invent the tablet. It was out there, tried and tested. They came along with a slightly different angle and then marketed it in a completely different way and changed that entire vertical. Just a way of thinking of that.
Yeah, because I was actually about to make that point as well, is that for me, spending a lot of time like uniqueness is big, but if it's not unique but the execution is near flawless, like that's just as relevant when I'm talking to different companies. I would say the other thing, particularly when I'm dealing with HR software, is adoption and perceived relevance for people who don't like HR, which is unfortunately a lot of people in organizations. And so if companies are able to articulate how they can win that group over, that's when I see either something that's a threat to Hello Talent or just a disruptor in the marketplace.
It's a really good point. You can build great stuff, and if people don't use it, it's useless, and it doesn't serve a value. And I think it's a big thing that organizations look for. It's not just you solve a problem, but our team, our staff, our business can use it to solve the problem. Gavin, final words from you.
I think in addition to the points made, I think customers buy passion and energy, and I think seeing how energetic people can be about their product and offering is also key.
my presentations, we don't typically do what these judges are being asked to do, which is we don't often tally up the points and assign the budget to the person who won the most points, or even if we do, we've already made a decision and we jig the points to make it work. On points, I think we have a winner. Is that correct? Exactly. Do you want to take that in?
So I'll hold that for once, in case I like to hold it.
We're going to ask all our participants to come on stage. Before we announce the winner, if you don't mind coming on stage, we're going to get a group photograph of everybody. And hold this back. You're going to hide it so you can't see it, you can't get to it, get away from it. So we're going to get a group shot of everybody. It's always tough to do this. I think we all face technology challenges, and these comments around passion is really important. Execution is super important. You do have to demonstrate your uniqueness, I think. I think most people will look at a product and they'll try and make sure that it has something unique of value to the organization. And most of the products, I think, you'll look at will have uniqueness. All of the products that are meant to say have uniqueness. It's how well can you articulate that sometimes. And if you can articulate it with passion, demonstrate that it's going to be better executed and used, I think you have a winner.
So before you announce the winner, we need a commercial from Ford Motors or something like that.
And after all that, the winner is. We're going to go to a break and have the answer in 10 minutes. No, we're not. So we're going to get this. This is our temporary prize because we will get this obviously S with the true winner after today. So we're not going to do a reverse chronological order. We're not going to do any of that. I think just personally, it was drag this out. I think it was nice. I was really tight. I was torn between lots of the different offerings here. I see uniqueness for me. I see as a customer of these services in our business. I think every single one of the products here, I look at from my company's perspective as I could use all these. Would I use all these? How would they work? How would they work in other types of companies? What's being done? And there's obviously huge effort and passion on behalf of all those companies. But we only have one winner. And for their delivery, for their idea, for its uniqueness, for its scalability, for its ability to change the world potentially and do great things, our judges and you, the audience, have selected this year's winner of the EMEA 2016